Gentlemen in the military, a question for you. Since I've heard more than one person say this, I'd like to understand, do you really advise all your friends and acquaintances to avoid military service? If the answer is yes, I'd like to understand what guides your thinking when you say that. Before we begin, I'd like to ask for a little support. It costs you nothing, but it helps me a lot as I grow this channel. It can be a like, a subscription, or even a comment under this video. I especially appreciate constructive criticism. 25 years of life, 5.5 of them spent in service, a year in the East. I never encouraged any of my friends to join and always talked them out of it. I understand that I lost my health and the best years of my life for nothing. You can judge me for it, but honestly, I don't really care. With a clear mind, not under the influence of drugs. I've been in the army since the first days of the war and have survived by sheer luck. That's why I tell everyone, don't get involved in that mess. I am a volunteer who joined on February 24, 2022, and I deeply regret my decision. To the friends who stayed in Ukraine, I say, do whatever you can to avoid ending up in this circus. It doesn't matter how many people get mobilized, there will be no demobilization. That's not how the system works, just so you know. My friend, who would you want to come back from Europe, where you're treated like a human being, where you have rights and benefits, only to become a slave here, sit on positions for months, forget about hygiene and your health. If you want it, you'll be moved behind headquarters and receive 650 hryvnias. If you're killed, you'll be listed as missing in action, and your family will get nothing. And if more people show up, there'll be another Kursk operation and more assaults, not demobilization. So why exactly aren't soldiers encouraging others to join? If you really wanted to understand, you would be understood by now and wouldn't be asking this question here. And yes, I didn't recommend it to anyone while I was fighting, and I certainly don't recommend it now, just to make my position clear. Yes, it's true, people told me to do everything possible to stay out of the army. Now that I've ended up here, I tell my friends the same thing. I'll say it straight, it's a mess here, so it's up to you. First of all, second it all, depends on what a person did before joining and that skills they have. If you're clueless and can't do anything, they'd be ready to end up on positions. But if you're physically fit, that can make up for it. Smart, experienced people can find their place. You just need to not be passive, talk and communicate. No offense, but 50% can't even write a proper sentence. And 70% are too shy to ask questions or talk to people. Anyway, that's how it is. I always advise people not to join, to avoid the draft office and the cops. That's based on more than 4 years of my own experience. There are many reasons. First, service is slavery. You live someone else's life, carry out someone else's tasks, and bear someone else's responsibility. You pay for it with your life and health. 2. You may be a respected person in civilian life, but in the military you become expendable, and whether you live or die is decided by someone who, in civilian life, was not respected at all. 3. The military runs on 3 principles. First, throw the person next to you under the bus. Make life harder for the person below you. 2. You'll get paid anyway, so quality doesn't really matter. 3. Don't stand out. Initiative. Get the initiator punished. 4. There shouldn't be too many people with veteran status, otherwise it won't make you stand out from everyone else. 5. People who have gone through this are a separate, respected group with certain privileges compared to those who haven't been through it. Draft dodgers are those who talk the oath and then avoid their duty. Everyone else are just ordinary people, citizens. Don't confuse the two. Yes, but it's 50-50. If they joined my unit, I'd be glad to have them with me. If they ended up in other units, then no, let them enjoy life a little longer. My father volunteered to serve and has been missing for almost 4 years. No one tells the truth, and no one ever will. No one cares about the family. I lost one of the closest people in my life. I don't want to lose anyone else I love, and I don't want even a stranger to end up in a situation like this, where they won't even tell you the truth afterward. Of course, I advise against it and completely understood why people say no. The only exception is hypocrites who aren't in the military themselves, but support forced conscription, abuse of power, and lawlessness. I ask them, why aren't you in the military yet? I like it a lot, wouldn't recommend it. No, I advise everyone to choose a good unit instead of waiting until they're sent to a random one. Go check it out yourself and see how great it is. Would you recommend that kind of slavery to your loved ones after that? Can you imagine how compassionate and honored these people really are when, after experienced hell, they sincerely tell others not to go through it? And then there are those loud heretical women who keep shooting at everyone, draft dodger, go fight, while not fighting themselves. No one, absolutely no one, has the right to decide how someone else should live their life. Honestly, I can't imagine it. The soldiers I know usually advise people to choose a unit so they don't have to keep running from the draft office. But judging by the comments, a lot of people really do advise not joining at all. I've never given anyone recommendations, but it's definitely a gamble unless you're working at brigade or battalion headquarters. It's 50-50, I wouldn't wish this on anyone, but I understand that people often don't have a choice, so you have to learn how to choose the best option out of the worst ones. Yeah, people are about to get a look at an uncomfortable reality, but I have a feeling the author will start talking about a flood of Russian bots. I don't have any friends left who aren't involved with the armed forces, emergency services, police, medical services, or volunteering. As for everyone else I know, I wish for them to join the ranks as soon as possible. I've been fighting for 5 years. On the very first day I joined my unit and listened to the command staff. I realized I ended up in a madhouse, but there was no way out. I tell all my friends not to join the armed forces under any circumstances. I've seen and heard things here that are hard to put into words. If I had known from the start what kind of slavery this was, I never would have joined. If they ever announce demobilization, I'll do everything I can to make sure I never come back. I hate our Soviet-style army with every fiber of my being. I don't have any civilian friends. They're either in the military or working for the military, period. My friends are at war, guys who are only in their early 20s, and when I talk to them, I see real men. Despite their young age, they're doing what needs to be done, so it's time to pull yourself together. Find your courage somewhere and do what has to be done instead of making up reasons to avoid your duty as a man. There are plenty of healthy military-age men in the rear, enjoying their carefree lives and doing nothing. None of my friends are avoiding service, but I do tell everyone to download an FPV simulator on Steam, and I don't think I'd wish this place on anyone. The loudest people talking about the war and how everyone should join to raise the viburnum are the frontline fantastics, the exempted, and those sitting sulkily in the rear. Don't end up there under any circumstances. Ma'am, I highly recommend you join the armed forces or the National Guard. Could you explain why you haven't joined and what's stopping you? By the way, you don't have to go assault positions on the front line. Aren't there military units in your city? They always need clerks, accountants, cooks. The schedule is just like a regular job, from 8 to 5. My father served for 20 years. When I wanted to go into the military, he told me it wasn't for me and not to even think about it. He always talked me male friends out of it too, whenever they said they wanted to serve. Now I'm in Germany and I honestly can't imagine myself serving. To the guys who say do everything you can to stay out of the military, wishing you all the best. We'll keep working in the rear so that you can keep doing what you do. They're either boots or paid actors. Either way, they're interested in disrupting mobilization. And who benefits from that? That's right, the Russians. Well, if you don't believe it, there's always a way to check for yourself. Women can serve in the military too. Once you're there, you can ask these questions directly. Dear viewers, thank you for watching this video. Sadly, after a month of daily work, spending 5-8 hours a day creating this content, I'm seeing almost no activity. Because of that, I've decided to move in a different direction. I won't be uploading new videos to this channel. If over the next month I don't see at least some activity and YouTube doesn't start recommending my channel, I'll most likely stop posting videos here altogether. Thank you. You bring the subscription, I'll bring the like. Don't forget to check out the new videos and find us on social media.